Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering Sirach chapters 12 through 15.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing. And we like to apologize in advance because Ruben is having glasses problems.
Yeah, my glasses mysteriously disappeared.
I would say
it was an act of God.
I don't know, man. They just, I literally took my furniture apart looking for my glasses. I fell asleep with them on my face. Maybe I, unconsciously dropped my phone and then grabbed my glasses and threw them in a random direction.
Maybe you did.
And then grabbed my phone and got back into the same position I fell asleep in, but... I mean, that's all I can think of. These are old ones. Really old ones. I can see. Kinda.
That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, I have the Anchor Bible, Wisdom of Ben Sirach, a new translation with notes by Patrick W. Scahan, and introduction and commentary by Alexander A. Delela.
I have.
Why does it still say waiting for Milwaukee Atheists?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Because on our live dashboard.
Just refreshed it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, on our live dashboard, it's saying that we're live.
I gotta see something.
Yeah, so we can just check on that.
Yeah, why don't you check on that?
Yeah.
Well,
but anyways, I have the translation from W.O.E. Osterley. And yeah, of course, it's the Wisdom of Ben Sirach, kind of an old translation. And we also have Erdman's commentary on the Bible.
Yep, we have all of these
We're
books.
fine. I don't know what was up.
Okay, yeah, we're up. Cool.
That's good.
Everyone had to refresh to get it to work, though. So
That's weird.
and there's more than one person. It's like 4.
Yeah.
Sounds like a YouTube problem.
Yeah. No, that's not on us. That's on YouTube. Damn
Yeah.
you, YouTube. Don't demonetize us, but damn you, YouTube.
YouTube's gonna demonetize us now.
Yeah, no.
We damned them on a Bible show.
We also have the New Interpreter's Bible Commentary. It has a lot of stuff, and Sirach is one of them.
Yep,
Yeah, and I think those are all the books that we're gonna be using today.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So why don't I hop right into it? Anything you want to say about chapter 12 before I start reading?
No, honestly, not really.
All right. Well,
I got no commentary on.
I'll comment.
Oh, you will.
Yeah, that chapter 12 appears to be presented by the Anchor Bible, in the same section as starting at 11:29.
Yeah, I have a similar thing because if you remember the divisions of the book, as scholars divided are not in clean cut chapters. They are they pretty much break it up by topic. So this section, for example, it spans 11:29 through 14:19. This whole section of commentary, and it's just on friendship and wealth. So that's how they divide it.
Wonderful. Well, we kind of covered similar topics last week.
We did because our show breaks it up by chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's hop into it then. We're going to be covering this whole section during this week's broadcast. So, wonderful. Care in choosing friends, 11:29 through 12:18. I'm going to start at 12:1. If you do good, know for whom you are doing it, and your kindness will have its effect. Do good to the just, and reward will be yours, if not from him, from the Lord. No good comes to him who gives comfort to the wicked, nor is it an act of mercy that he does. Ooh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's brutal. So people don't get punished unless they get judged as wicked by someone, right? Even if it's like a mafia boss and you don't pay your debt to him, right? Then he's judged you as wicked and thus he punishes you.
Sure,
unless they're just being outright tyrannical, right? So that's basically everyone who might be getting...
Well, of course, in Ben Sira's mind, this would be, more of an objective kind of wickedness. Those who are not good to God.
Ah,
yeah. Because later on, he even emphasizes more the Torah and the good old law. We love the law here.
Wonderful. Give to the good person, refuse the sinner. Seems against what most modern Christians hold.
So this is actually very different. The order of these verses is incredibly different.
Oh.
So it should be a whole section on verse 5, because verse 5 is split up into 4 separate divisions.
This was verse 4 in mine.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Verse 4 is it's verse 7 for me. Except, okay, here, I'm going to describe this. So I have verse 7, right? And then in parentheses 4. And then that verse is give to the good, but withhold from the evil. So hopefully there is some commentary in that version. Actually, I feel like I might have it on verses 4 or 5.
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah. Let's see. So I don't actually have a commentary for the weird division here, but what I do have is I have a very little commentary for the weird division, actually. So it just says that these lines are clearly out of place. And then the order of verses 4 through 7 in Hebrew differs from that in Greek.
All right, let me go into this. The order found in Greek is followed in verses 4 through 6, and verse 7, found only in Greek, repeats verse 4, except that verse 4 has tu eusibe, to the godly person, whereas verse 7 reads to agato, to the good person.
Yeah, give to the good.
After verse 3, manuscript A has the following order: verses 5D, 5BC, 6AB, 4,
Yep.
5A.
Yep.
Compare Ben Sira's advice in verse 4 and 5A with the command of Jesus in Luke 6:27 through 28.
Yeah, so I have 5A is right after verse 7. And then 5B, 5C, 5D, and 5E are all after verse 3 because 7 and 4 are the same.
Oh, jeez.
It's ridiculous.
This almost sounds like a bad rule for rhyming schemas that just never gets applied. But no, this is just an attempt to get the original text back, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's damaged.
Yeah, either way. It's
So
also, can you switch it to live chat, Chris?
What is it on?
Also,
oh, yeah.
The commentary by
Look,
Alexander
it did nothing.
A. Delela says that this section that we're reading is who Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68 refers to.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 28, if you guys don't remember that was an intense reading for me. That was
incredible.
Yeah, that was so basically, if to sum it up, if you don't follow God's law, he's going to make you eat your children.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, the faithless.
he's going to enjoy making you eat your children.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of it. But there's also...
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
There's like so many curses that get put on you.
Deuteronomy 28 is intense.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, these verses are out of order. So just read them however yours has it, because yours is probably more accurate, honestly.
Okay. Refresh the downtrodden, give nothing to the proud. No arms for combat should you give him, lest he use them against yourself. With twofold evil you will meet for every good deed you do for him. God himself hates sinners and requites the wicked with vengeance. There's your Deuteronomy 28, right? In our prosperity, we cannot know our friends. In adversity, an enemy will not remain concealed. When a person is successful, even his enemy is friendly. In adversity, even his friend disappears. Never trust your enemy, for his wickedness is like corrosion in bronze.
Yeah, so there is a note here on the bronze stuff.
I'd also like to say that, if you know what the advice is to be interpreted out of this, it's not bad advice, for once. Sometimes the logic and wisdom reading that we've had has been very illogical and very unwise in today's world. But yeah, no, if you're in a bad situation, the person who's most likely to do bad stuff will reveal themselves. That's an interesting note.
Yeah. Actually, I will continue to note once you get, or I'll start the note once you get to the end of verse 11.
Okay. Even though he acts deferentially and peaceably toward you, take care to be on your guard against him. Treat him as one who would breach a confidence, and be sure that in the end, envy will still be there. That's the end of verse 11.
So, did you have anything about a mirror?
I'm looking.
Because that's weird. So here's my verse 11. And even when he hearkeneth to thee and walketh humbly, take good heed to have a fear of him. Be unto him as one that brighteneth a mirror, and he will find no opportunity to harm thee, and know the end of jealousy. Yeah, so that mirror comment there. I do actually have a note on that.
Okay, I have a note. 11 CD. Between these, manuscript A adds a gloss so that he may not be able to harm you. Greek reads 11 CD in terms of a corroded bronze mirror.
Okay. So
also, I'm going to check the...
Yeah, he actually does note here that the text
proper.
of the Hebrew in this line is corrupt. Read on the basis of Greek, and thou wilt know how to be rid of rust. So the whole point here, because it is weird, we have different variations because of the Hebrew and the Greek, and the note here is another image in this unit compares enemies to a corrosive pot or to a magic mirror that was thought to divulge the identity of friend and foe when carefully polished and examined. And I think that metaphor will show up again later in our reading as well.
Yeah. The commentary says to compare the comment. Okay. So Ben Sir is explaining that envy is the usual result when an enemy sees another's prosperity. It says, compare this comment with the observation of Aeschylus, 525 to 456 BC. It is in the character of very few men to honor without envy a friend who has prospered. Agamemnon. It's from a thing called Agamemnon.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, that is
Greek legend.
relevant. So, if that comes from that time period, then that might give us more information about the dating of the piece in general.
Although I do have another note here on the mirror stuff, actually. So wickedness grows like corrosion in copper. Mirrors were then made of metal, not glass. If your reputation is not polished carefully and frequently, it loses its shine and becomes rusty. So keep your mirror well polished and maintain a good reputation. Makes way more sense than the stuff we've been reading, but it's written in today's English, so.
Well, we can safely come to the conclusion that we know what the verse is about.
Yeah.
Let him not stand near you, lest he oust you and take your place. Let him not sit at your right hand, lest he then demand your seat.
Yeah, of course, the right hand being a very honorable hand, like your first mate.
And within the Christian theology, it has different connotations.
Yeah. That's where the Son of Man is.
Right.
Yeah. He's right there. Don't die. You got the Rona?
No, I got a thing on my throat.
Is it
Don't
the
we
Rona?
all have a throat?
I think most people do, yes.
No, I don't have the Rona. And in the end, you appreciate my advice when you groan over my neglected warning. Who pities a snake charmer when he is bitten, or anyone who goes near a wild beast? So it is with the companion of the proud, who is involved in his sins.
Yeah, so the whole idea is like, if you play with fire, you get burned.
Yeah.
Classic.
Well, I mean, who does pity a snake charmer when he's bit?
I'm a little sad for him.
A little sad, yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks he got bit.
He knew he was going to get bit.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yes, at some point, if you do it long enough.
He was
probability, I mean.
daily
See,
making
snake charmer
an effort.
doesn't necessarily mean snake handler, you know.
Mm.
So, like, if you're, like, handling snakes all the time, yeah, you're going to get bit. But if you're just trying to charm them with, like, a flute, and then it comes out and it bites you immediately, yeah, I feel a little bad for him. He's not trying to have that happen. That's unintended. But anywho,
Well,
it's normal empathy.
look, these are the natural consequences of what they're doing.
I mean, it happens, but it
reference.
still sucks when it happens.
Yeah.
We understand the metaphor, though.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. While you stand firm, he makes no move. But if you slip, he cannot hold back. With his lips, an enemy temporizes. But in his heart, he schemes to plunge you into the abyss. Though your enemy has tears in his eyes, given the chance, he will never have enough of your blood.
Yeah, so they're just feigning care.
Well, so you should basically never show any mercy to anyone in any situation.
Well, no, I think
you shouldn't pretend to do that unless you actually mean it.
Yeah.
Well, why would you mean it? Because
you got empathy, normal human
So, I mean,
empathy.
they're talking about
they're
the wicked.
scheming to plunge you into the abyss.
Yes, that's what the
They're,
wicked are
like,
doing. But you are
actively-
better. You are better than the wicked, aren't you,
well,
Reuben? Are you better
If
than the
someone
wicked?
is currently actively scheming to try and murder me, I'm not going to just stand there and be like, no way, man. I forgive you. I have
boy, you're not a good
mercy
person.
on
Horrible,
you.
yeah.
I might scheme ways to protect myself
You should
from
probably do that.
being murdered, right? So, but this isn't scheming ways of protecting yourself from being murdered. This is like just outright have no intention to show any mercy to any of your enemies because they're actively all scheming against you. So you should
Just the wicked.
well,
Just the wicked.
It says, though your enemy has tears in his eyes.
Yes, but your enemy is the wicked.
Look, this is a different stanza, a different section.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, man, no. Let's
They
not
start
argue this.
with this parallel about a snake charmer. And what happens to the companions of proud men. And then it talks about this enemy it's talking about practical situations.
Yeah, because this is in a section about false friends.
Right. And so if you have an enemy, right?
I mean, I suppose it is definitely talking. I suppose it is talking about, just keep an eye out on people.
Right. In general, essentially, never trust your enemy. Is earlier in there, in verse 10.
Yeah.
Right. And earlier in verse 8, or in verse 9, they established that enemies can appear friendly. So,
their premises are kind of all over the place now. They had a nice solid ground to walk on before, and now they're just scattered. I don't know what they're actually trying to say here. Be cautious, but also be nice to good people. That's my guess.
But you can't trust good people to be good people because your enemies can appear friendly.
Well, this is also playing off of the whole testing for friendship thing.
Yeah. Okay, but
yeah, because when
they earlier established that
no, he's right. It's three types of hypocrisy.
Yeah, they earlier established that when you're in good times, both your friends and your enemies are nice to you. But when you're in bad times,
only your friends are nice to you.
No, they said that your friends leave you.
Oh, well, that's horrible.
Right? Nobody knows you when you're down and out. Right?
That's not a good friend.
Right. But
you guys are having a hard time. I'm out of here.
That's what no, that's what they established is the scenario that they're in, that they're setting this all up as. Right?
I mean, think about what happened to what's his name? The guy who gets punished by God forever. And then for fun, basically, in a game between the devil and God.
Oh, Job?
Job. Yeah.
Job.
Think about Job. What happened to Job's friends? They just left him, right? They pretty much just gave up.
They didn't. They helped.
They showed up and argued with them.
Yeah, for the whole book almost.
Did they even do anything for him, though?
They argued with him.
That's it.
Yes.
That's not helpful.
And then there was that other dude.
You can do for him.
Elihu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just some jagoff out in the distance.
Some rando.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, this is I'm getting an image of Ben Sira as this incredibly paranoid person.
Yes, I'll give you that. Incredibly paranoid.
Not trusting anybody in any situation.
Yeah, definitely.
It's actually kind of absurd. Okay. And basically look, if you do trust anybody at any point and it comes to bite you in the ass, then that's your own fault.
Yeah,
and no one should care.
Damn.
So, okay. If evil comes upon you, you will find him at hand, feigning to help. He will trip you up. Then he will nod his head and shake his fist and hiss repeatedly and show his true face.
Yeah, so the hissing and the what was the other thing? Damn.
Showing his true face.
Which verse is that? Sorry.
That was verse 18.
Shake his fist.
Yeah, he shaketh his head and waveth his hand, and with much whispering he changeth his countenance. So that is different. But I would say that if it was hissing in this one, then it'd be relating it back to, the snake thing and the beast thing. Although there is a note that I have on shaking the head. So shaking the head in the Old Testament often means mocking, but here the enemy is pretending to be friendly. Nevertheless, if you touch pitch, it will make you dirty, and so will association with a proud person diminish you. Yeah, that's actually in the next section. That's actually the next verse. Yeah.
Well, that's the end of chapter 12.
Yeah, so just to keep in mind that this idea continues. So once I read this next verse, the beginning of verse 13, you'll get the commentary that I commented a moment ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's this. Here's this. You want this, don't you?
Yeah.
It's nice and pretty for you.
Lots of books.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, there's going to be probably some issues with this translation. I'm gonna guess that the Anchor Bible one is better. Whoso toucheth pitch, his hand is defiled.
It just says it blackens his hands.
Yeah.
Which is literally what happens.
Mm-hmm. And the companion of a scorner will learn his way. That which is too heavy for thee, raise not up, and consort not with one richer than thou.
So this entire section, which goes into the next chapter, a couple of verses too, contains various observations and maxims concerning into the rich and the poor and their association with each other. It may be divided into 4 stanzas, the first with 7 bicola, 2 tricolon, a bicolon, 10 poetic lines, the second with 6 bicola, the third 11 bicola, and the fourth 5 bicola. Thus, the first 2 stanzas have the same number of lines as the last 2.
All right. So, anyways, yeah, they're talking about the rich. This section actually is called "Like Consorteth with Like." So
see, that's hard because if you consort with somebody who's richer than you, then you're not supposed to, right? That's what it says there. Yes? You're not supposed to even...
well, yeah.
And that's difficult because the person who's more wealthy than you would have to go, oh, no, you're too poor to hang out with me as well. They both can't do it. So you have to hang out with people of exactly the same wealth as you. You can't hang out with poorer people than you because then they're hanging out with somebody who's richer.
Well, the thing is, you probably wouldn't be too rich, at least in Sirach's mind.
I see. So it's a
not
poke at them.
Yeah, it's not written to the rich.
Now, verse 1a is applicable to many situations described later, but it's become popular as a proverb quoted twice in Shakespeare, once in Much Ado About Nothing.
My favorite.
And once in King Henry IV, part 1, 2, 4, 460.
That one sucks.
In case you... Well, there you go. You like one, the other one sucks.
That's true. Shakespeare is a mixed bag, really mixed bag, to the point where I've read a lot of it. I hated it for first stage. That's what made me get into that crap.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, wait, there's like 3 of these that don't suck and are actually really good. I mean, he must have stole those from some good authors.
Mm-hmm.
So that which is too heavy for thee, raise not up, and consort not with one richer than thou. What companionship hath the pot with the cauldron? when the one smiteth, the other is broken. The rich doeth wrong, and boasteth thereof, and the poor is wronged, and yet hath to beseech. So yeah, even when the rich are doing bad things to the poor are like, I love this place. This is amazing.
Mm.
If useful to him, he maketh a slave of thee. And if thou break down, he spareth thee not. So yeah, once you're old and decrepit, it's like, yeah, they're just going to throw you away.
Mm-hmm.
If thou hast aught, he will give thee good words, and he will impoverish thee, yet grieve not at it.
What verse are you on?
5.
It's jank again, right?
Yeah, read
Maybe.
that again.
Verse 5?
Yeah.
If thou hast aught, he will give thee good words, and he will impoverish thee, yet grieve not at it.
Okay, well, Eerdmans. Oh, you know what? That's
You're in a different section.
Is that on 12? See, they include 12:1 through 13:24.
Yeah, they do.
And
it does get kind of confusing.
It doesn't outright say. Okay,
it doesn't actually tell you when it goes from, like, it usually at the start of paragraphs it tells you, like, in this next chapter.
Yeah, but it's not doing that here.
That's annoying.
It is really annoying.
Okay. Either way, if he have need of thee, he will flatter thee, and will smile on thee, and ingratiate himself. He will not speak thee fair, and say, What needest thou? And will shame thee by his hospitality. Shame thee by his hospitality?
Yeah, okay.
Apparently,
imagine a caricature of the super evil king, and he's like, yes, sit down, let me tell you I plan to destroy all of you. That's a stereotype, but I like it.
So part of verse 6 from he will speak thee fair, and the first line of verse 7 is apparently omitted in the Hebrew, so that's from the Greek.
Yeah, so verses 4 through 7. Ben Sirach gives examples of how the rich abuse and manipulate the poor for selfish gain. In verse 4a, the Hebrew expression Ya'abod Beka, he will enslave you, occurs also in Jeremiah 38.
Occurs a lot.
Yeah. Though Ben Sirach makes the remark in verses 4 through 7c, note the order of the colon, the translation, about individual rich people who use the poor for their own purposes. What he says is applicable in modern times also to rich nations which have pursued a policy of colonialism and subjugated poor peoples for economic, military, or geopolitical advantage, only to abandon them later. The bicolon in 5a through 6b from Greek may be translated literally, if you have anything, he will live with you, and he will smile at you and give you hope. In other words, the rich will move in on you, ingratiate themselves with you, and give you hope of a better tomorrow.
Yeah, and then that all goes away once you have nothing left to give.
Yeah, 6c through 7a describe the scheming of the rich. They pretend to be interested by making you promises. Literally, he will speak fine things to you and even inquire about your needs. They embarrass you with their expensive meals.
Okay. That's embarrassment with expensive meals. Okay. And that's the section. That section you're talking about right there, that's the one that is apparently omitted in the Hebrew, according to Osterley.
Mm-hmm. But as soon as the rich need you for their own purposes, they trick you, intimidate you, and reduce you to penury without a qualm. Literally empty you out and not be sorry for it. Also, 7DEC.
Oh, we haven't even gotten there yet.
Literally from the Greek, there's a literal translation here, and they say that...
Here, how about I read that section first?
Okay.
And then you can tell me the literal Greek.
Okay.
As long as as it profiteth him, he will befool thee. Twice or thrice he will fleece thee. Later, when he seeth thee, he will pass thee by and shake his head at thee. So yeah, that's the end of verse 7 there. But of course, shaking the head comes up again.
Afterwards, when he sees you, he will forsake or abandon you and shake his head at you. Also in 12:18. And finally, laugh you to scorn is apparently the literal translation from Greek.
Take heed that thou will not overproud, and be not like those who lack intelligence. If a noble draw near, keep away from him. The more will he then desire thy presence. Do not thyself draw near, lest thou be put at a distance. Yet stand not too far off, lest thou be forgotten. Okay, so this is the same kind of thing that we've seen before about, being weary.
Yeah, kings are sketch. They could kill you, but they're also rich, so you might want some of that money.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been, described a lot by if you want to warm yourself up next to a fire, you can't go too close to the fire because you'll get burned. And if you're too far away from the fire, it doesn't warm you up.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of the same thing going on here.
Yeah.
Venture not to be too free with him, and trust not the abundance of his talking. For by his much speaking he is trying thee, and while smiting he is probing. Well, smiling. I said smiting. It says smiling. I can't read.
Boy, you sure can't today.
Yep. And while smiling he is probing thee. Cruelty doth the tyrant practice, and he spareth not. Against the life of many doth he plot. Take heed and be wary, and consort not with rough men. And then this next verse, verse 14, it's in brackets, and this is from the Greek, apparently, so there might be some more commentary on this. When thou hearest these things away, I really can't read. When thou hearest these things, awake from thy sleep. All thy life love the Lord, and call upon him for thy salvation.
What verse is that?
That's verse 14.
Okay. I'm looking. 14 was removed.
No.
It was placed at the bottom of the page.
Oh, damn.
If you hear these things in your sleep, wake up with your whole life, love the Lord, and call for him as your salvation. Let's see. 14. Yeah, wow.
So you got nothing on it?
Really doesn't have a note on it.
Yeah, but it just notes the same thing.
It's in G2. So apparently it's only in Greek, maybe?
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
It's that only in Greek.
Yeah. So, yeah, that sucks. Hoping to have more commentary there. But we can see why it was probably added, if anything. Anyways. All flesh loveth its kind, and every man his like. So that section, that's where, like consorteth with like comes from.
Yeah, that's some racism.
Yeah.
So like naturally associates with like, and every person with his neighbor. In verse 17, he goes on to quote a proverb.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll get through verse 17.
Yeah.
All flesh consorteth according to its kind, and with his kind doth man associate. What companionship is there between a wolf and a lamb? Even so it is if the wicked associateth with the righteous.
So in verse 17, he quotes the proverb, the wolf living with the Lamb from Isaiah 11:6 to show that the sinner has little in common with the devout. 13:15 has...
that's the all flesh loveth its kind one.
Yeah, the argument from analogy with animals like wolves, hyenas, dogs, wild asses, and lions contains a fundamental flaw, for the rich and the poor
we get into
belong
those,
to the same genus.
They probably weren't really seeing it that way.
Kinds.
So what you were talking about there, what kind of peace can there be between a hyena and a dog? Or what peace between rich and poor? For food for the lion are the wild asses of the wilderness. Even so, the pasture of the rich are the poor. The abomination of pride is humility. Even so, the abomination of the rich are the poor. So it basically, just puts, they're being treated like prey.
Cattle or prey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When a rich man is in difficulties, he is supported by a friend. But when a poor man is in difficulties, he is thrust away by a friend. That doesn't sound like a good friend.
So a lot of the commentary in here has just been talking about like poetic speech. And
that sucks. That's the worst kind of commentary.
Yeah.
Like of all the commentaries, that's got to be the worst one.
But specifically in this chapter now, it's been going into a lot of detail about how there's many similar sounds throughout all of the lines. So, and they're also presented in a more poetic form. So it apparently would sound really good in Greek.
Or maybe in song form, I don't know.
Yeah. As a psalm.
Yeah. Ugh. Glad this isn't that.
Yeah.
It's not that much better, but
it's kind of that.
It is.
Well, in the sense that it feels like it's scattered right now, mostly due to the translation error. That's reminding me of Psalms.
A rich man speaketh, and his supporters are many, and his unseemly words are pronounced beautiful. A poor man speaketh, and they hiss him. Yea, though he speak wisdom, they will not suffer him.
Those damn poor people, if only they would suffer more.
No, that's not, no. They're just not listening to him.
Misconstrue it. I love it.
Yeah, they're not listening to the poor person because the poor person is an idiot. He's dumb.
Right. Well, also the poor person won't even consider what the rich person says.
Probably, yeah.
The rich person, obviously, because they have this idea that, like, wealth is the natural consequence of doing things that are good, that God wants.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's also like a bad thing to have a lot of wealth.
Right.
Because that could show that you got it through greedy or underhanded means.
We've been getting conflicting messages. More like you should strive not to be a jerk and rich, but you should also strive not to be poor.
Yeah, I think there should be
there's some medium. Oh man, like the middle class. Maybe he's like trying to promote a middle class. I don't know.
Yeah, there should be some commentary actually in the New Interpreter's Bible one, I think, or Erdman's. One of those. There should be some commentary on his how he's talking about the rich. It might be in Erdman's. But either way, it would fit in to this.
What verse is it?
Oh, the verses that I'm currently on are 21 through 23. I haven't gotten through 23 yet. But I think there is some commentary on, how Ben Sira views the rich and being rich, having wealth in general. Or we might
great, but not.
We might
great.
get to it later. I don't know.
Okay. There's something interesting here. So these people are walking on a tightrope, basically. Third point of vulnerability issues from the inevitable self-denial demanded by limited resources. Now stretched to the limit by competing with people who have greater wealth, one has to adopt a miserly lifestyle. And that, says Ben Sira, makes absolutely no sense for any number of reasons.
Oh, that does come up later, though.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. All right, I'm going to finish the section, and then that would actually be your reading when we get to it.
Oh, well, this occurs within verses 1 through 20 in this commentary.
Huh, okay. Anyways, go on.
Okay. The 3rd and 2nd centuries BCE, with surging interest in amassing a fortune, also produced advocates of personal enjoyment, such as Kohelet, Ben Sira, and...
It's Ecclesiastes, by the way.
And the rabbi who insisted that everyone must give an account of every good thing not enjoyed. One can infer from the heated attack in Wisdom of Solomon 1:16 through 2:24 on such indulgence that things quickly get out of hand, leading to lawless conduct by young robbers.
Yeah, so this is how so like if you get too much money, it could be a real problem. But obviously if God ordains you, like, you'll be successful and make a lot of money. Like, yeah, it's a really not exactly clear, his philosophy on that.
Well, right. You should hoard wealth to be comfortable, but don't hoard too much wealth to make it so that the next generation has nothing to gain. Yeah. That's kind of what I interpreted here.
When the rich man speaketh, all keep silence, and his wisdom they extol to the clouds. When the poor man speaketh, they say, who is this? And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him.
So, the poor speak, the people ask the snide question, who is that? The same Greek pronoun used there is used in a sarcastic manner by the people of Nazareth when they refer to Jesus in Matthew 13:55.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Then
I know we haven't read it yet, but it's pretty well read. So
yeah, so that's an interesting textual note.
Good is wealth if it be without sin. There we go. And evil is poverty if it come from sin.
Oh, I have a little bit more about this ridiculing.
Ah, okay, good.
Okay, so...
ridicule me this.
Joke. Another source of difficulty lay in society's natural disposition, a bias in favor of the rich. The plain fact must be faced. Ben Sira observes in 1323 that the crowds praise the wealthy even when the latter utter nonsense, and the masses condemn the lowly who may speak eloquently. The word for ridiculing in 1322, ga, imitates the croaking of frogs. If one reads ga, it may refer to cackling. In other words, people who endeavor to cross that invisible line between poverty and riches only fool themselves.
Anyways.
You can't do it. You can't advance through economic classes. You can't improve your socioeconomic status. It's impossible. Stop trying.
The Bible says the American dream is a lie.
Yeah. Though they categorize it as one nation under God, right? No, Sirach pretty plainly says that the American dream is a lie.
The heart of a man changeth his countenance, whether for good or for evil. A merry face is the sign of a happy heart, but sad eyes are signs of worry. And this is in a section that's just, titled Proverbs, And yes, those were pretty much Proverbs. But now, in the middle of it, we're on the next chapter.
Yeah, in verse 25, Ben Sira makes the perceptive observation that a person's interior disposition, the heart of a person, in Hebrew thought categories, manifests itself outwardly, equals changes his looks, literally changes his face. See Proverbs 15:13, Psalm 104, verse 15.
Good old Psalms.
Yeah, and a bunch of others. So apparently this is a very common theme.
All right. Let's see. And now we are jumping into chapter 14.
Yes, which I had to actually go back to because they put the first two verses right at the end here.
Oh, yeah, that happens.
So, chapter 14. Happy the person whose mouth causes him no grief, whose heart brings him no remorse. Happy the person whose conscience does not reproach him, one who has not lost hope. I guess they would be happy, wouldn't they?
It would be, yeah.
Yep. Wealth ill becomes the mean person, and to the miser, of what use is gold? What he denies himself, he collects for someone else, and in his possessions a stranger will revel. To whom will he be generous, who is stingy with himself, and does not enjoy what is his own? There is no one worse off than one who is stingy with himself. He punishes his own avarice. If ever he is generous, it is by mistake, and in the end he displays his greed. An evil person is the miser. He refuses his neighbor and neglects himself. The greedy sees his share as insufficient, but his stinginess withers his appetite. Though the miser's eye is rapacious for food, there is none of it on his table.
Have you gotten to verse 11?
No.
Okay. Tell me when you hit verse 11.
I'm about to read verse 11.
Okay.
My son, use freely whatever you have and enjoy it as best you can. That's verse 11.
That's, This is also weird. All right, continue. I'll know when to hop in.
Are you reading about the previous chapter?
No. But it's just really, really strangely set up.
Okay. Remember that death does not tarry, nor have you been told the grave's appointed time.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's all sorts of mixed up here. So Hades is apparently the Greek word there. So Hades, the Greek name for the afterlife, is misleading since Sirach believed in no afterlife. A better translation is the REB's, the hour of your appointment with the grave is undisclosed. Consequently, his advice to treat yourself well and do good to friends before you die, in verse 11. Otherwise, you leave all your goods to another or to be divided by a lot. So apparently that's, just an interesting note.
Mm-hmm. This is solid advice, man. Don't save your money. Just spend it as soon as you get it.
And enjoy.
Yep. Because you're not going to live to see 45 probably in Sirach's time. So there's no reason to save it up. You know, you're never going to reach the ripe old age of 60.
50. Oh, okay.
Oh,
that too.
Wow. Yeah, 50.
Both work.
Right. Before you die, be good to your friend and give him a share in what you possess. Deprive not yourself of present good things, let no choice portion escape you. Will you not leave your riches to others, and your earnings to be divided by lot? Give, take, and treat yourself well, for in the netherworld there are no joys to seek.
So what verse was that?
That was verse 16.
Okay. So before we hop into the next verse, I actually do have some more commentary here on Sheol or Hades, whichever translation you want to, or just the grave, whichever translation you want to take up. So the reference to this shadowy domain in 14:12 is the first one in Sirach. It was originally thought to be outside of Yahweh's realm, but the prophet Amos recognized no such limit to God's authority, Amos 9:2. The unknown author of Job believed that a certain leveling of social distinctions occurred there, resulting in rest for the weary. In the opinion of at least one psalmist, the residents of Sheol do not chant Yahweh's praises, Psalm 6:5. Those who entered Sheol, so it was thought, took up permanent residence. This opinion was replaced in New Testament times by a conviction that Sheol was only a temporary resting place, at least for the righteous. A change also took place in the character of Sheol, perhaps under Persian influence and common thinking. No longer a neutral domicile, Sheol came to be depicted as hell. And of course, when talking about the divisions of Sheol, we can also talk about the Enochic literature.
Oh, of course, because there's the 3 fountains and the 4 pits.
Mm-hmm. And one of them is glowing.
Yeah.
But you can go back and watch our episode where we read that.
Yeah, you can. It's in this podcast playlist.
It is. It's really, really cool how that works.
Yep. All flesh grows old, like a garment. The age-old law is, all must die.
Yes. The age-old law. You know what that's a reference to?
What?
Eden.
Oh, Eden.
Yeah. Because in let's see, Genesis 2:17.
Oh yeah.
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 Like, now you will die. This allusion to the story about Adam and Eve and the divine decree you must die is virtually without precedent. Ben Sira will take the reflection one additional step, blaming women for all subsequent misfortune.
Whoops.
Come on, Ben Sira. Always blaming women. That's
Okay.
very much like Ben Sira.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Though, I don't know. Maybe this translation doesn't really have that. It says, as with the leaves that grow on a vigorous tree, one falls off and another sprouts. So with the generations of flesh and blood, one dies and another flourishes. All of a person's works will perish and decay. His handiwork will follow after him.
Yeah, once again, you yourself are fleeting, and the things you make are fleeting, but at least some things will stay for a little bit longer than you.
Mm.
But they're going to go away too.
Yep. And there'll be different people. Mm. Oh, now we're in a new part.
Yes, but it's still
it's still chapter 14.
Yes, it is.
All right. For another 8 verses.
Is this 20?
Yeah, this is verse 20.
Okay, so there is a note I have on this section. So apparently this section is reminiscent of Psalm 1. And we're going to learn more about that. So the praise of wisdom consists of 2 parts, 14:20 through 27 and 15:1 through 10. 15:1 then provides a thematic verse uniting the description of those who pursue wisdom with that of her receiving them with open arms. The remarkable resemblance between this hymn and Psalm 1 is both linguistic and theological. Each begins with the formula of blessing, blessed are, then goes on to describe the behavior of the happy ones, their meditating on Torah and subsequent prosperity, while using the image of a flourishing tree, which is, you kind of read something just on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's another reading of it too.
Oh, okay.
There's obviously the reference in Psalm 1:1, but there's also going to be a lot of talking about the ways and the paths of wisdom.
Yeah, because so each one also contrasts two groups, the favored ones and the unfortunate victims of their own wickedness and folly.
And those things popped up in Proverbs a lot so far.
Oh, yeah.
And also there's in Proverbs 8:32b, happy are those who keep my ways, wisdom being the speaker in that sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot of Proverbs, a lot of Psalms stuff. So wonderful that we chose to read this in the middle of Proverbs.
And for this next section, apparently there are going to be two different images, one for the Hebrew and one for the Greek, because apparently in the Hebrew there are the images of the image that's used is of spies, and then in the Greek it's the images of hunters.
Mm-hmm. And there, it's also like 14:20 through 27 is the first stanza, and then 15:1 through 10 is the second stanza. So it's one poem with these two parts, and then 15 goes on to be something else later. Right. Happy the person who meditates on wisdom and fixes his gaze on understanding, who ponders her ways in his heart and pays attention to her paths, pursuing her like a scout and watching her entryways, who peeps through her window.
Yeah, this is getting kind of stalkerish.
Yeah, and listens at her doors, who encamps near her house and fastens his tent pegs near her walls, who pitches his tent beside her and lives as her welcoming neighbor, who builds his nest in her leafage and lodges in her branches, who takes refuge from the heat in her shade and dwells in her home. That's
so
that's the end of chapter 14.
So on the basis of Canticles 2:9, which has the young woman rejoice that her beloved stands outside and peers into her window, one may assume that the practice did not offend some segments in ancient society.
They didn't have the idea that that was necessarily stalking.
Yeah, it was
like, wow, that person's expressing interest in me, and I know maybe 20 people.
Yeah, it was obviously a much different time. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyways, yeah, here you go, man.
Yeah, give me that commentary.
Yeah, I will.
Oof.
You will see me give you the commentary.
Give me that commentary.
Commentary.
So part 2 of the poem shifts the point of view to the object of hot pursuit. As this section illustrates, wisdom gladly lets herself be captured by worthy pursuers, but holds herself at a distance from
make
those
wisdom a slut.
lacking intelligence. No, she doesn't fuck idiots.
No.
The thematic
Wisdom is, for...
Fine. Genius slut only.
Yep. The thematic verse equates fear of Yahweh, that is piety, with keeping...
obviously, this is a much different time.
Yep. In keeping the law, and relates both to wisdom. There's also an expression, the one who handles the law, that can refer to a scribe in the first verse of this chapter. But in Jeremiah 2:8, it indicates a priest alongside rulers, shepherds, and prophets.
So
that's some context for the first verse of the chapter.
All right. So anyways, chapter 15. For he that feareth the Lord doeth this, and he that taketh hold of the law findeth her. And she will meet him as a mother, and as a youthful wife will she receive him. So she's very caring and loving and young too, apparently. And she will feed him with the bread of understanding and give him the waters of knowledge to drink. So that's, that hospitality thing that was prominent in Proverbs as well.
Yeah, verse 3 echoes the ancient tradition about wisdom's feast as proclaimed in Proverbs 9:1-6, but the language comes closer to that uttered by wisdom's rival, folly, in 9:13-18. Although wisdom is said to serve bread and water, folly offers stolen water and bread consumed in secret. If you remember the secret bread, we still need to make a T-shirt about that.
Good old
but
secret
also,
bread.
Verse 2 has an ABBA rhetorical pattern leading...
I love Rich's comment. That's pretty great.
Okay.
Right, you're
Lending
blind.
Oh, yeah, no.
emphasis to Spencer's
we already talked about
point. Right. Okay.
Anyways, so yeah, good old bread of understanding.
But there's this whole like ABBA pattern.
Yeah,
that continues through here.
Yeah,
I guess.
good old poetic stuff.
Rhyme schema.
And he that saith upon her will not fall. That stayeth upon her will not fall. Nor shall he that trusteth in her be ashamed. And she will exalt him above all his neighbor, and will open his mouth in the midst of the assembly. Joy and gladness shall he find, and she shall cause him to inherit an everlasting name.
So in this, it says, in the assembly she will make him eloquent in the previous verse.
And yeah, will open his mouth in the midst of the assembly.
Yeah.
So yeah, because if wisdom opens your mouth, then you'll say smart things.
It says, as regards 5b, though the wise are to open their mouths to speak and teach in the assembly, the fool is to remain silent. The artisan, important as he is for the people, does not enjoy a place of honor in the assembly. There is a sibilant alliteration in verse 6. You read verse 6?
Yes, that's the everlasting name one.
Yes, the everlasting name. So
the word olam, which is usually translated as everlasting, is also a title for God, El Olam.
Yeah, there's also this Isaiah bit. So in verse 6a.
Yeah, joy and gladness shall he find.
Yeah, an eternal, imperishable name. This occurs in Isaiah 56:5, and Yahweh gives it to faithful eunuchs in Isaiah.
Well, isn't that nice of him?
Yeah.
Liars shall not obtain her, and the arrogant shall not look upon her. Far is she from mockers, and untruthful men do not think of her. Praise is not fitting in the mouth of the wicked, for it hath not been apportioned to him by God. So praise has to be apportioned to you. Or maybe they're just using it in a different sense, where it's just not appropriate for you to do so. Yeah. God wouldn't be okay with that. In the mouth of the wise, praise is uttered, and he that is mighty in her shall teach her to others. Oh, and this next section is apparently about free will.
Oh, we're going into a new section now?
Good old free will.
Free will and responsibility. So you're at 1511.
Yes, I am.
Okay. This is the unit on free will, impious children, punishment of the wicked, and accountability for sin.
Lots of deep philosophical stuff to cover. Say not, from God is my transgression, for that which he hateth made he not. Say not, It is he that made me to stumble, for there is no need of evil men. Evil and abomination doth the Lord hate, and he will not let it come nigh. He will not let it come nigh them that fear him.
So,
Praising.
the initial section echoes Moses' speech in Deuteronomy 30:15-19, which offers the people of Israel a choice between good and evil, life and death. The unit also draws on Genesis 1:1 and insists that from the beginning, God has opposed sin absolutely. The formula of debate, do not say, and a variant, lest you say, appear in verses 10 through 12. The attribution of rebellion and violence to God evokes in Ben Sirach a twofold use of the word sane, something like that, to hate. In the latter instance, such and such linguistic stuff occurs, but they're talking about this bit here. It says, the Epistle of James also refutes a claim that God incites sinners to do evil. It too stresses human desires as the origin of sin.
Yeah, but let's recall, I think one of those books actually notes it, all the times where it seems pretty obvious that he's the one who caused the sinning.
Mm-hmm. Well, like it outright says, I think it's in Isaiah, where God says that he created evil.
We'll definitely get to that.
Right.
Although, like the times, like when he hardened Pharaoh's heart, right? That's actually why this is in the background today. Why it's Pharaoh and that stuff. Why it's Torah stuff, because that is one of the topics that we can bring up here to show that he is in a sense controlling this evil action.
So this doctrine of free will that we're going to be going over is essentially the same as in Deuteronomy 30:19. In fact, parts of it have almost the same wording exactly. So
probably a source.
Yeah, could be like from a verbal Torah or something.
Could be.
Right.
Depends on when it was all written, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, God created man from the beginning and delivered him into the hand of him that spoileth him. Apparently this line is a gloss added for doctrinal purposes. In verse 14 there.
I am looking.
Yeah, so check on verse 14. And placed him in the hand of his yetzer. And apparently that's a technical term meaning here the evil tendency or nature. So I guess he would, the whole nature and nurture thing. And there's also, that whole thing about is human nature good or bad? I guess he would say that human nature is evil.
So, verse 14.
Yes, verse 14.
There's just nothing that was in either of these. And so maybe there's very little in here. The text of manuscript A is overburdened.
Okay, whatever that means.
Okay, yeah. That's not much.
Is that the whole note?
It's the whole note.
That's horrible. Okay. Anyways,
Joy.
If thou so desirest, thou canst keep the commandment, and it is wisdom to do his good pleasure. And if thou trust him, of a truth thou shalt live. Poured out before thee are fire and water. Stretch forth thine hand unto that which thou desirest. Life and death are placed before man. That which he desireth shall be given him. Sufficient is the wisdom of the Lord. He is mighty in power and seeth all things. All things.
Mm.
And the eyes of God, behold!
Behold! We're not counting that in this show, but behold.
His works. Behold his works. And he knoweth every deed of man. He commanded no man to sin. Wow, this is, can you finish that verse 20? Or at least the next line?
Nor will he be lenient with liars.
Is that right after he commanded no man to sin?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because this is photocopied, and they're like just direct holes. So yeah. Anyways, and he hath no mercy on him that. Oh, actually, that's different. And he hath no mercy on him that committeth falsehood. Let's see. The note here is these lines are later additions, apparently. So after he commanded no man to sin, I get, that section where I can't read it. But then you said the next line was
basically the same as the next line that you read.
Yeah, that's the one that I read,
which
means that it would, if we're not getting confused, it would effectively be a repetition. But it's not, because my other one, right after he commanded no man to sin, it's like blank nor something. He strength to blank. So there's something about strength in there at all? No. Any commentary on verse 20?
There was none of it in there. Maybe there is. No.
Huh.
Maybe later on.
Yeah, like a textual note on 20.
And 15:20.
Yes, 15:20.
There's just.
Yeah, the only note I have.
A certain verb is not supported by either Greek or Syriac, but some manuscripts add further verbiage in effort to repair the text.
Okay. So it's just then conveniently that half of this verse didn't get photocopied. Okay.
Yep.
Anyways, nor on him that betrayeth a secret. Yeah, apparently those last two lines that I read were later additions, according to Osterley.
Yeah, this one doesn't include either of the last two lines.
It's weird. You'd think that it would at least note them, because it noted the other one, right? That just appeared in here as part of the Greek. So you'd think. Also, Goldstein's commentary was way better.
Goldstein's commentary was way better.
Of course, it's on a different book, but still.
And this even has two people. Two of them.
Yeah. Bummer. Come on.
Bummer. Yeah.
Anyways, that's the end of the show for today. You know what I didn't tell people last week that I should have?
What?
That it was my birthday.
Yeah, you
on
should've.
Tuesday. It was my birthday.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
What? It's crazy.
I knew it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, but...
True friend. Real friend.
Indeed. Yeah. I sent him a text that said happy birthday and nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. It was really kind.
I required Facebook or a calendar, of which I don't use.
That's the equivalent of a Hallmark card nowadays. So
good enough.
There you go.
Lawrence, you have it easy. Ruben and I have the same birthday.
I know. It's great. Anyways, yeah. So if you want to get us something off the wish list, the Amazon wish list link is in the description. That'd be cool. That stuff. Or
if you got us everything on the wish list,
that would be a very happy birthday.
Cool.
I mean, it's not my birthday anymore, but it was.
Yeah, it's your birth week.
It is. It's my birth week. That's right. That's what Landon
You're within
said.
7 days.
Yeah, that's what Landon said.
Which means you can say it on Sunday, too.
Yeah, I can. You're right. Let's see.
Oxen will be slaughtered to honor your belated birthday.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly what my birthday needed. It's slaughtered oxen and sacrificed in a big pot.
Those smells are savory to the Lawrence.
Yes. Thank you.
You also need some oil that's made out of like a bunch of Middle Eastern incenses.
I mean, I'll take it.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got going on. Our Patreon, cool stuff on Patreon. You could get all of our video scripts for.
Thank you to our newest $10 patron.
Yes.
No other show will tell them specifically. Dabbler. Yes. Thank you.
I don't even know if he would like that public or not.
Oh, well.
So that's why I wasn't even going to bring that up.
Well, people added in at the end, and it's very nice.
Yeah,
he's been on here before, and since he can't make it, we want to thank him.
Still,
yeah.
Yes.
I said his name wrong anyway, so enjoy.
But hey, if you enjoyed the stream today, check us out on Facebook
and Twitter. It's free to follow us there. We also have our Teespring. Links to everything is in the description, by the way.
We need to update the BitChute more.
We do, don't we? Let's see. Yeah, Patreon, you get lots of cool rewards. That stuff. Wish list. Teespring. Cool shirts.
Yeah, the wacky and fun ones.
Yeah, especially the wacky and fun ones.
Yep.
Except for the wacky and fun shirt that we have yet to make.
Yep. Patreon.
We said that.
Wish list. Patreon. Donation. Oh, yeah, donation drive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a 666 donation drive. Once we hit $666 in donations, we will be getting a Thetan reading meter from the Scientologists. We will
gonna see who's clear.
Seeing who's the most clear.
It's not me.
Yes.
Definitely not me.
Yeah, it's definitely not you.
No, not me at all. And then Facebook and Twitter, free to follow us there. And honestly, I think that's all the shilling, right?
Yep, that's everything.
Thanks for joining us for the show today. And you know what?
We will see you on Sunday. Actually, this time.
Yes, and also